The first words she said to him were, "I'm not mad at you." And the last thing he said to her was, "fucking bitch," as her corpse drove away with 3 of his bullets in her goddamn face. That's how you frame this thing. That's the new angle. How many murder angles do you need to see? How many more? He shot her in the face and called her a fucking bitch. And then he got in his car and drove away while his buddies made sure an ambulance couldn't reach her. While his buddies stood around going, "Oh, guess it's getting a little warm in here, huh, fellas?" And then what happened? His boss got in a press conference as her corpse wasn't even cold yet in the snow of Minnesota and called her a fucking domestic terrorist. Then the president got on and called it a justified killing. Then the vice president got on and called her deranged. Nobody called her a mom. Nobody called her an American citizen. Nobody called her Renee Good. What they called her was in the way. And now here we are, a 4th, a 5th, a 6th angle. How many angles do you need to see before you realize our Constitution's dead?
Want to know what I think? This is what I think. I think Jonathan Ross got out of his car. He was filming and wanted to take evidence of whatever was happening here. Then as he approaches Renee,
I'm not mad.
not only is she not trying to agitate or aggravate the situation, she's actually trying to de-escalate the situation. Then Jonathan Ross goes to the back of the car where he encounters Renee's wife. There's something in this part of the footage that I think is important to note. See here, you can see in the reflection of the car, his phone is in his right hand. Then as he's filling the license plate, he encounters Renee's wife. And big, strong Jonathan does not like what she has to say.
It'll be the same fight when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out the car.
Did you catch that? While they're having their exchange, he walks further around the car, and then he does this. He switches the phone from his right hand to his left hand, because what side of his body is his firearm on? See, he was ready. He switched his phone from his right hand to his left hand so his right hand could be ready. This was before the car was moving, because Renee only started driving forward once this guy started pulling on her door trying to open it. But Jonathan Ross already had his gun unholstered. I mean, what does that tell you? Here's what I think. I don't think Jonathan liked that these 2 women were getting in his way. I don't think that he liked that these 2 women were emasculating him and making him feel small. Go get a sandwich, big boy. He doesn't like that feeling. He's the big, strong man. And how dare these bitches make him feel like that? And is anyone shocked that these ICE agents are not only racist, but they're also fucking misogynists? He didn't like that these women were standing up to him. He didn't like that they were in his way. You can even hear it after he puts 3 bullets in Renee's fucking face. He says this. He doesn't care that the woman that he just shot 3 times was dead or alive, but he made sure that he called her a fucking bitch. And again, her tires were to the right. His body was to the left. If she wanted to run him over, she would have gone straight. I'm no forensics expert. I'm no crime scene investigator, but I'm seeing what I saw.
This is new footage taken by the ICE agent who shot and killed Renee Good in Minnesota, showing the seconds leading up to the shooting and immediately after. Vice President J.D. Vance said it shows the agent's life was endangered, and he fired in self-defense. So what really happened? Let's break it down. As the agent approaches the vehicle, you can hear Good speak to him.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
He moves to the back of the vehicle to film the license
We
plate.
don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same
Now, let's
fight
bring
when
in
you
the
come
second
talk to
angle.
us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen.
You can see more ICE agents arrive.
You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Good reverses, her wheels turn to the left, and the agent moves in front of the vehicle. The agent films Good steering her wheels to the right, away from him, and he unholsters his weapon. Now, as Good accelerates, the ICE agent footage shakes. He puts his hand on the car. The vehicle appears to make contact. Now, he's on the side of the vehicle. This is when the first shot is fired. He's standing beside the vehicle, its wheels pointed away. This all happens in about 40 seconds from him getting out of his vehicle. After Good is shot, a man can be heard saying this. "Fucking bitch." Nobody else is near the agent.
Everyone should be reading the DHS use of force policy today. Listen to this. DHS LEOs, law enforcement officers, are prohibited from discharging firearms solely to disable moving vehicles. Also, DHS LEOs must attempt to use verbal warnings, identify themselves, and give the subject a chance to comply. Here's the section on fleeing subjects. Deadly force shall not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing subject. And listen to this, it could not be more clear. DHS LEOs are prohibited from discharging firearms at the operator of a moving vehicle. Firearms shall not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. It is also against the use of force policy for ICE to block that doctor that tried to help Renee Nicole Goode yesterday, and it is very clear. DHS LEOs shall obtain appropriate medical assistance for any subject who has visible or apparent injuries. Could not be more plain. Fuck ICE, fuck Trump, fuck MAGA. Know your rights, read the policies, understand how this affects you.
If you encounter ICE, these are the things that every New Yorker should know. First, ICE cannot enter into private spaces like your home, school, or a private area of your workplace without a judicial warrant signed by a judge. That looks like this. If ICE does not have a judicial warrant signed by a judge, you have the right to say, I do not consent to entry, and the right to keep your door closed. Sometimes ICE will show you paperwork that looks like this and tell you that they have the right to arrest you. That is false. ICE is legally allowed to lie to you, but you have the right to remain silent. If you're being detained, you may always ask, am I free to go, repeatedly, until they answer you. You are legally allowed to film ICE, as long as you do not interfere with an arrest. It is important to remain calm during any interaction with ICE or law enforcement. Do not impede their investigation, resist arrest, or run.
1,200 people who were detained at Alligator Alcatraz have vanished, and their records have been completely wiped from the online ICE database. Their families and lawyers have no idea where they are and have no way to reach them. That's over 2/3 of the detainees who were being held there who are just gone. This information comes at the same time as reports confirm that ICE is using untraceable military flights to send immigrants to prison camps in third world countries. This is literally exactly how a certain tragedy started in 1930s Germany, and now it's repeating here. I cannot even begin to overstate how fucking terrifying it is that our government is actively disappearing people and then wiping all records of their existence. There's absolutely zero mainstream coverage of this, so please save and share to get the word out, because this is something we cannot stay silent on.
Let me tell you something that should make every single person in this country sick to their stomach. ICE just admitted out loud that it illegally held 400 children. Not for a day over the limit, not for a week, some for 5 months. Children locked up for longer than the court says is even remotely legal. And wait, because it gets worse. Much, much worse. Court filings say kids were fed moldy food, broccoli with worms crawling in it. A child had an eye injury and ICE let them bleed for 2 days without medical care. Another child's foot was broken because staff dropped a metal pole on it. That is not a detention system. That is state-sanctioned child neglect. That is abuse. And while all this is happening, ICE quietly stuck families in hotels, sometimes longer than the court allowed 72 hours, with no explanation at all. The law says 20 days. ICE said screw it and held kids for 168, nearly half a year. Babies, toddlers, teenagers. And while the Trump administration tries to end the very agreement designed to protect these children, and the rules and accountability so that this can get even worse, a judge now has to decide whether to intervene, because ICE clearly won't police itself. And if this is what they're openly admitting, imagine what they aren't saying. This is not immigration policy. This is not order. This is cruelty, deliberate, systematic cruelty toward children. And if that doesn't enrage you, you are not paying attention.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mubashir, and I never expected to be standing in front of all these cameras and microphones. But what happened to me cannot stay quiet. What happened to me was unjust, uncalled for. I was simply on my lunch break. I literally went downstairs from my building. I wasn't even outside for mere seconds before I seen a masked person running at me full speed. He tackled me, pushed me inside the restaurant, like as you can see in the video. I told him I'm a U.S. citizen, what is going on? He didn't seem to care. He dragged me outside through the snow while I was handcuffed, restrained, helpless, and he pushed me to the ground, and he put me in a chokehold. That was very uncalled for. I thought I got really hurt. And after that, they put me inside the vehicle. And they asked me, we have to verify if you're a U.S. citizen, because I believe you're an illegal citizen because you ran from me. But as you can see in the videos that will be released, I'm simply just standing still. I asked them, okay, they said, let me take a picture of you to scan your face to see if you're a U.S. citizen. I declined because how will a picture prove I'm a U.S. citizen? I told them I have my passport. It's in my phone. Can I open and show you? He declined. I told him, can I give you my name and my date of birth? He declined. So he took me on the other side of Cedar, and they kept me there for 45 minutes, just asking, we have to scan your face, we have to scan your face. After about a whole hour, they said, okay, we can do your fingerprints on our phones. And the fingerprints were not working. So I guess they waited on 20 more minutes, and they said, we're going to take you into Bishop Henry, all the way in Bloomington. While they were driving me all the way there, they were wasting time. They kept going back in the same highway. I told them, are you guys lost? But they said, yeah, this is our first time taking someone in. And they had the maps out and everything, and they were trying to intimidate me. So after I arrived at the facility, they parked up, the gate was closed, and they made me step outside in the snow while it was snowing, and they said, we have to scan your face or we're not gonna let you inside the car. So I had no choice. I let them scan my face. I was so cold. I guess the face thing, it didn't work. So they finally took me inside the facility. They kept me there for another 20, 30 minutes. I seen other people that would get in holding cells. And at that time, I asked for water. They declined my water. And I also asked for medical assistance because my hands were numb and my back was hurting because he pushed me down and he put his whole body weight. They told me we don't have any medical staff at the facility. So I said, can I get water at least? They declined. And I guess finally some lady listened. I told her, yo, can you turn on my phone? I have my passport card. And she finally let me use my phone. I showed her. And she said, okay, we still have to do your fingerprints. I did my fingerprints. And they finally let me go. And I asked them earlier today, you told me you were going to take me back to Cedar where you picked me up at. Are you guys going to still offer me a ride? Because at that point, I didn't know if anyone knew where I was because they turned off my phone, they turned off my location. You don't know where you're at. So I asked them, can you take me back to where you picked me up from? They said, no, you have to walk in the snow. They were being serious. I asked 3 times, they said, no, you're walking. But eventually my parents came and picked me up. And yeah, all I did was step outside as a Somali American, and I just got chased by a masked person. The agent then, at one point, he didn't identify himself. He didn't say, ICE, stop. I felt like I was getting assaulted. I was getting kidnapped, and that's exactly what it was. And the way they were treating me, it was inhumane. They dragged me across the road. They slammed me to the ground, choked me. That was uncalled for. There's also more videos of someone came out. They had a copy of my passport. And I told the agent, he has my passport copy. And he said, we don't care, we're still taking you in. And they kept me for 2 hours. And if this is what's happening to a U.S. American citizen on camera, imagine what could happen to your loved ones when there's no one around to witness what they're doing. But thankfully, my incident was caught on cameras. It was posted all over social media. This shouldn't be happening to anyone. We shouldn't feel target just because we're Somalis. Yeah, man, that's not right.
That's right. This is the 9th time ICE has shot someone since September. First person they killed was a man named Silvero Gonzalez. He's a 38-year-old undocumented father of 2 who DHS claimed tried to drive his car into agents and then dragged one agent, causing, quote, severe injuries. Then, surveillance video comes out. Shows that Gonzalez was actually just trying to back up and drive away, and that the agent was caught on video saying that his injuries were no big deal, nothing major. DHS also got caught lying about their shooting of Miramar Martinez, that's another US citizen. They originally claimed she rammed their cars and threatened them with a semi-automatic weapon, which forced them to shoot her, and that she was then totally fine and drove herself to the hospital. Turns out, when all the facts came out and all the body cam footage came out, she didn't have a gun. She didn't threaten them. She was taken by ambulance to the hospital, and the body cam footage shows the officer saying, "Do something, bitch."
Just hours after a federal agent fatally shot a woman in her vehicle, we captured these scenes at Roosevelt High School, a few miles away.
The first thing I see is 6 or 7 or 8 SUVs parked in the street, people in, military fatigues essentially, and masks. There were lots of yelling, whistling. It was really chaotic.
It was around 3:30 p.m. Classes had been dismissed and students were trickling out of school.
We were in a staff meeting talking about the shooting that had happened earlier in the day. Another staff member came in and informed us within about 5 or 10 minutes of that meeting starting that the agents were outside.
Teacher Nick Wilson ran out and started filming on his phone. One student said she fled the scene after seeing agents emerging from their cars.
We see them tackle teachers on the floor, and that's when I was like, oh my God. I ran because I was scared for my life.
In a statement to the New York Times, the Department of Homeland Security said agents were chasing a U.S. citizen who they said had rammed his vehicle into a government vehicle before driving and stopping in a school zone. DHS said that it was not targeting the school, its students, or its staff. The Times independently confirmed that one educator was detained by federal agents and has since been released.
It made me not want to come back to school no more because it's so terrifying. So yeah, that's how I feel.
Minneapolis Public Schools told the Times the incident is currently under investigation and that all MPS schools are closed until Monday out of an abundance of caution.
I'm still kind of in shock that that was something that happened at this place. I've called home for the last 14, 15 years of my life.
Get out. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm a U.S. citizen. Okay, you're a U.S. citizen.
That was a video of Christian Jimenez, a 17-year-old high school student who was detained by ICE during his lunch break last Friday. When he told the officers he was a United States citizen, they broke the window and detained him anyways, saying, "I don't care, you're a citizen." The Trump administration has unleashed masked ICE agents into our communities. They are violently abducting our friends and our neighbors, young people who have committed no crime. We saw it in Massachusetts when Marcelo Gomes da Silva was detained on his way to volleyball practice in Milford. And we saw it again last week when a Babson College student named Amy was surrounded, handcuffed, and deported on her way home to visit her parents in Texas. We are no longer just on the path to authoritarianism. We are living in that world, and we must continue to resist it each and every day. End the ICE abductions, end Trump's campaign of fear, end fascism now.
All right, I gotta show you all this incredible moment where Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem is caught live on TV, just left speechless after she's confronted over her own administration's deportation of United States veterans. One more time, the Trump administration has been deporting U.S. veterans who served for our country, who were shot and almost killed for our country, rather than targeting people who have criminal records in the United States. The Trump admin said that they would be allocating funds towards the deportation of violent criminals, yet they got into office and reallocated those funds towards farm workers, towards mothers just going to the courthouse to have their day in court, towards preschool teachers who we've seen get ripped out of class and then deported, and now veterans. These are stories that have been making the rounds online, but seeing The Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem being confronted about this is next level. Earlier today, we also learned that a judge ordered Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia to be released from ICE custody immediately. A big day for people who like due process, who want to expose this administration's awful immigration policies. And before we jump into Kristi Noem, let me just explain. Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia is the perfect example, the perfect microcosm of this administration's lack of due process. This was a man who was not allowed to be deported to one specific country. There was one country he wasn't allowed to be deported to, which was El Salvador, and this administration still did it. This is a Maryland father who was just taking care of his kids every single day, going through the proper processes to get his citizenship while he had temporary protected status, and the admin ripped him out of his job and deported him. It was such a mistake that they had to bring him back to the United States. Now that I've laid the groundwork by showing you how sloppy this administration's immigration enforcement has been, let's watch this clip of Kristi Noem being confronted during a hearing on Capitol Hill today. Make sure you like the video and double check to make sure you're subscribed to the Adam Mockler feed because we are beating MAGA media and you guys are helping. Let's check this out.
I don't believe you served in the military. I haven't either, but I think you and I can agree that as Americans, we owe everything to those who have served our country in uniform, particularly those who have served in combat. Do you agree with that?
Sir, I believe that people that are in this United States that are citizens have legal status here.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Se-Jun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service. He was arrested in the 1990s for some minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years. He is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. He has sacrificed more for this country than most people ever have. Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old. Will you join me in thanking Mr. Park for his service to our country?
Sir, I'm grateful for every single person that has served our country and follows our laws.
Can you please tell Mr. Park why you deported him?
Every one of them needs to be enforced.
But you understand that many veterans struggle with PTSD, many veterans struggle with substance abuse challenges. This man took 2 bullets for our country. You have broad authority, by the way, as Secretary, to issue humanitarian parole, to do deferred action. Will you commit to at least looking at Mr. Park's case to see if you can help him find a pathway back to this country that he sacrificed so much for?
I will absolutely look at his case, but I want you to remember that
Madam Secretary, the man behind you, please stand up, sir. His name is Jim Brown from Troy, Missouri. He is a Navy combat veteran who served our country in the Gulf War. He's married to a woman named Donna, who came to our country legally from Ireland when she was 11 years old.
This is just brutal for Kristi Noem, by the way. This is brutal for her.
She has lived here for 48 years. Because of you, Jim's wife, Donna, has been in prison for the last 4 months. She did not come here illegally, and she has never committed any crime other than writing 2 bad checks totaling $80 10 years ago. She is currently in prison and facing deportation. Ms.